Alright, so basically what I want to touch on in this video is if you spend $40 on the Dragon Touch 4K, are you just completely throwing your money away? For my filmmaking needs in terms of the GoPro Hero 3, I know it's an old camera. It came out in like 2011, 2012, something like that. But I only use it for a body cam for my behind the scenes music video shoots. So in terms of what I need an action camera for, the GoPro Hero 3 does fulfill those requirements. Until I saw the Dragon Touch 4K, and a couple things about this camera kind of intrigued me. For one, the cool thing is I could kind of just flick the remote here and it comes on and starts recording, so I can kind of set it off as a third person view and just turn it on and off, stick the remote in my pocket. I'm good to go. But it does come with 2 batteries and a charger for those 2 batteries, so that's definitely a plus. The second thing about the Dragon Touch that the GoPro Hero 3 does not have is a screen on the back that I can actually use to like at least frame up my shot. There's been so many times when I've been shooting with the GoPro Hero 3, if I set it off to the side, I would kind of just like the opportunity just to be able to see what I'm shooting. I do realize that I can just open the app and see it in the app as well, but that's just a little bit more time than I'm wasting, you know, opening up the app, trying to get it all synced up, making sure the Bluetooth's on the GoPro Hero 3, syncing it up, and it just takes a little bit too much time. It's just nice to have a screen on the back that I can just kind of reference my framing to. Another thing that intrigued me about the Dragon Touch is that it shot 1080p 60. The Hero 3 only shoots 1080 and 30, and as well, obviously the Dragon Touch shoots in 4K. The Hero 3 doesn't have 4K. I don't think 4K came out on the GoPro series of cameras until the GoPro Hero 4. The last thing I'll touch on in terms of the Dragon 4K is the fact that you can shoot in manual white balance. That's a pretty cool characteristic in any camera. If I can shoot in manual white balance, that way my shots kind of look a little bit more consistent throughout the entire project. Obviously the GoPro Hero 3 only shoots in just full auto. You don't have any control of any of that stuff. I believe this camera is for people who have a GoPro Hero 3 series of camera or older. If you have a GoPro Hero 4, I don't think that it's necessarily an upgrade, because like I touched upon earlier, the GoPro Hero 4 already shoots 4K. It shoots 1080 60. It shoots 4K 30. You also have the opportunity on the GoPro Hero 4 to shoot in Pro Tune, I believe it's called, which gives you a little bit more of a flatter image, just in case you want to do a little bit of color grading or color matching to the rest of your project. I just think overall the GoPro Hero 4 is most likely a better camera than the Dragon 4K. And also it's just built a whole lot better. It's a lot more reputable of a company as well. But now when comparing the GoPro Hero 3 to the Dragon Touch, there's just a little bit more of a disparaging difference between the two. And to me specifically, that's just because of the amount of years that I've went by in between these 2 cameras. Even though this is kind of like a knockoff camera of the GoPro, just because of the fact that it's a newer camera, it's probably gonna look just a little bit better than even a name brand camera from nearly 10 years ago. I'm not gonna talk about everything that the Dragon Touch comes with. It comes with a whole slew of stuff, man. Pretty much everything that a GoPro comes with. It comes with all the mounts, all like the harnesses, the screws and all that stuff. The Dragon Touch does come with like this mount with a 1/4 inch screw mount on the top and the bottom, so I can mount it up onto a tripod pretty easily. I do believe the GoPro came with like a 1/4 mount as well, but I'd rather have this one and not in like a waterproof case or something I can just use as a standalone camera. The main reason why you guys see me shooting in a studio environment is because I typically use the GoPro Hero 3 in studio environment, so I just kind of wanted to see what it looked like in kind of a low light condition and compare it to how the Dragon Touch handles low light as well. I do realize that these are both action cameras. None of them are going to be like Wizard level 10 on low light or anything like that, but I did kind of want to see the difference between, you know, the 8-year technology gap between these 2 cameras, and just basically whether or not the fact that this is a much newer camera, will it be able to handle low light just a little bit better than something that's nearly 10 years old. So I'm not gonna really tell you whether or not it's, you know, good enough for low light for you, for your particular needs. I'll let y'all decide that based off this footage that you're looking at right now. The menu system is pretty much a piece of shit, but it's $40. I'm not gonna spend any time complaining about it. Another feature that the Dragon Touch has over the GoPro Hero 3 is you can zoom up to 4 times. I don't think that I'll be particularly using this feature, but if that's something that you're interested in, it does have the capability of shooting at up to a 4 times crop. It does shoot also up to 120 frames per second at 720. I feel pretty confident in telling you that the 720, 120 frames per second on this camera is basically gonna look like shit. All in all, I think the Dragon Touch is a pretty good buy for $40. You really can't beat it. For $40, pretty much the only thing you're gonna be able to buy within that price range is a GoPro Hero 3. So I thought that these 2 cameras are a pretty good match for each other.
3 days later.
A couple key things to note about the 4K Dragon Touch versus the GoPro Hero 3. Check this out. If you looked at the shirt on the previous footage, you'll see that it's completely blown out. On the GoPro Hero 3, the shirt's just fine. These are studio lights. These lights are not super bright. Even that light back there is only on half power. This light, which is my key light, is only at 40%. So it's at 40 watts. It's a 100-watt source of light. So pretty much the rest of this video is gonna be for individuals who care a little bit more about video, like they care about color science, skin tones, they care about highlight roll off, and dynamic range. If those things don't really concern you, then I'd recommend getting the 4K Dragon Touch just because it has the screen on the back like we talked about earlier. But in my opinion, if you do care about things like skin tones and dynamic range, the GoPro Hero 3 is going to do a lot better than the Dragon Touch. So I wasn't able to see some of these issues just looking at the back of the screen on the 4K. So I wasn't able to see some of the issues that I saw in the editing suite when editing the 4K Dragon video. And so I wanted to come back and just address some of the issues that I saw. So after doing a really quick white balance on the 4K Dragon, the GoPro Hero 3 had much better color science. It rendered out skin tones a whole lot better. The 4K Dragon Touch renders out skin tones just a little bit more magenta than the Hero 3. The Hero 3 was pretty much spot on, right on the skin tone line. Also as well, I stuck a light in the back of this particular shot just so you guys can see the difference between how these two different cameras handle bright lights. Obviously, I'm not comparing the footage between a cinema camera like the 4K that you guys are looking at me through right now, but this will provide you a good control shot that you can look at to compare to these two action cameras. I did have one thing I wanted to try out with the 4K, and that's the fact that you can adjust the exposure, or you can go like +1, -1, or you can keep it right on 0. The original footage that you guys saw at the beginning of this video up until this point was all shot on 0. So I wanted to try out that feature, put it at -1 on the exposure just to see if it fixed that overexposing issue that the 4K Dragon Touch was having. It fixed it to the point to where I think that you can have it a little bit more usable. But if you decide to go -2 or -3, you're gonna start introducing a whole lot of unnecessary noise into the footage. So when it comes to exposure compensating on the 4K, -1 is pretty much the lowest I would go. If you guys have any other questions concerning the Dragon Touch, drop me a comment below. If you guys want to see like still images from this camera or whatever, just hit me up. But other than that, appreciate y'all checking out this video, and I'm out.
I can tell you're on the road. I can tell. I've been busy doing shows. I can't let nobody close. But right now you got me open. I can tell you are a pro.
Views, the engineer.